welcome to you. My name's Dale and this is Dale's Addiction. This video has been requested multiple times and I feel like I've covered it because in my Vlogmas I did a lot of get ready with me, but you guys aren't satisfied with that, and so I am going to do a get ready with me video, dedicated video. And this is my everyday makeup look, what I would wear whether I'm going to work or not, and I will show you a couple of variations just so that you get it. I think my colouring is fairly olive and warm, and so everything I'm using is what I've learned works for my colouring, particularly my skin tone, my green eyes and my dark hair. They might be different things for you and your colouring, your hair colour, your eye colour, but yeah, I'm no expert. This is just what I do, and I'm kind of, humbled that you're interested, and also a little bit, embarrassed because I'm not an expert. So today I've literally just I've cleansed and had a mask on, which was a pink clay mask, which exfoliates as well. I've just washed it off and I've come here with a tray full of goodies. So I am out of my NIOD multi-molecular hydration serum. I've ordered some more, but this Verso hydration serum with niacinamide is something that I've repurchased multiple times. I love it. So I'm going to put 2 pumps on and be very generous with that, given that I would usually mix the NIOD serum and this one together. And just press that into my face. So I might look a little pink because that mask that I put on had like an exfoliating property, so when you wash it off it actually activates the little granules. But overall my skin's looking alright for no makeup on a Sunday morning. The next thing that I'm going to put on is this Ultraceuticals Ce Ferulic. Again, I've purchased this multiple times. I now keep it in the dark because you guys have shared with me that it does seem to go darker if it's exposed to sunlight. So I wonder what that does to your face, which I suppose is why wearing sunscreen is super important. But my husband thinks that this smells like meat or Vegemite, and it does, it stinks. Vitamin C is just, it's not a pleasant smell, definitely. So, yeah, if you're going on a date or something, refresh all your makeup and don't wear vitamin C. That's my advice. The next thing that I'm going to put on is this Darphin Hydraskin Light. It's a gel hydration cream. I talked about this a lot during Vlogmas. I love this stuff. The texture of it, the coolness of it, it stays cool. It's weird. And it smells super, super fresh, which, when you're looking at everyday luxuries and you just want to have something that picks you up in the morning or the evening, whenever you're putting it on, and you want to feel, and yes, Candace, I know I'm not pulling it down onto my chest because privacy. Candace is a skincare guru here, and she always reminds me to pull my skincare down onto my décolletage. But when you are doing this kind of stuff in public, the opportunity for slips, particularly of the nip kind, is high when you're doing that kind of thing. We don't want to pull a Janet Jackson, right? So I'm just going to do the modest version today. Right, next, and I've reordered this as well. This is the Ultraviolet Supreme Screen Hydrating Facial Sunscreen. This is a factor 50, and I learned just the other day that one of my neighbours' friends from school actually designed Ultraviolet, is one of the founders of Ultraviolet. So what a small world we live in. So it's got a slight tint to it, if you can see that. I kind of put about 3 pumps on, and the great thing about these pumps is that it really, really sucks all the product out of the packaging, which is great value because a lot of the time the packaging is made as such that it's really hard to get the last bits out of it. So because sunscreen is a barrier, I will kind of press it on rather than rub it in, because you're trying to create a barrier between your skin and the UV rays that are out there. So I try not to get it too close to my eyes, because not that this one actually does make my eyes water, but it can do, especially on a windy day. I find if your eyes water and then you get a bit of sunscreen in them, it's like ouch. So there we go. I'm just going to let that sit there for a little bit, because normally I would be brushing my teeth now if this was my morning routine, but lucky for you, I've already brushed my teeth. While this is on, I got this one in my, I'm going to say this was in the Adore Beauty Advent Calendar, and the Laneige Lip Glowy Balm, and a lot of you, I'd never heard of it, and a lot of you said, oh, it's amazing, I use it all the time. This one's in peach, so it has like a subtle tone to it. But I always find myself looking for a lip balm to put on while my skincare is kind of just doing its thing, because then when we get to makeup and you start to get foundation lips, it's easier to wipe those off as well. Okay, so let's get on to getting ready for the day. Something I've come across recently that I don't use every day. It just depends on what the weather is doing and how my skin is. If my skin's feeling a little bit dry or looks a bit tired, I will definitely use this Hourglass Primer Serum number 28. I discovered this on a recent makeup lesson that I went to at Mecca Maxima, and it's amazing. I don't feel like I need that today. I feel like I've got enough of a glow, so I'm going to leave that one. And it will not be news to you that I recommend and love for a very light, glowy, kind of dewy coverage, Hourglass Illusion Hyaluronic Skin Tint. This one was out of stock for about 3 months last year, and I tried a lot of other alternatives. I tried Huda Beauty Glow Wish, I tried by Terry Hyaluronic Foundation, I tried Urban Decay Naked. I didn't like any of them. I just did not enjoy their texture or the finish on the face. I use the shade Beige in this one, and I buy it from Mecca Maxima in Australia. I'm sure you can buy it from other places where you live. Put about that much on. That's probably a bit too much, to be honest. I've probably been a little bit generous. I've got another 3 packets of this in the cupboard, so I will not run out like I did last year. And I tend to, again, it depends on my skin finish. I've got the Hourglass number 2 brush, foundation brush, which I use most of the time to put this on. Sometimes I use this airbrusher that I bought from Mecca, so it's like a stippling brush. Sometimes, if I want a heavier coverage, I will use this kind of really thick angled brush from Mecca as well. So just depends how I want the makeup to sit. Today I'm going to do what I always do, because that's the name of this Get Ready With Me, and I will use the Hourglass brush, and I just kind of like dab it onto my hand, and then I get a bit of colour in the brush, and then I dab it across my face as well. Again, I'm not an expert, this is just what I do, and it may be right or wrong in your opinion. And actually, I need a mirror. I need a mirror that is not the camera, and I literally just kind of use a dabbing motion to move the tint around my face, and that's pretty much the whole art to it. And I just find the dabbing and, like, what do you call that, swirling motion, it's like a car wash for your face. And yes, I do it across my eyelids as well. It's just how I do it. And I do not find that I get, you know, bad creases from my eyeshadow, and I'll show you why in a second. Okay, so without doing anything else, this is just what it's looking like direct on my skin. This is not a full coverage, and like this is really close up, okay? But what I want to show you is you can still see that I've got bits of pigmentation. You can still see my freckles. You can still see the color of my cheeks underneath. That's what I want. That's not for everyone, but that's what I want. And I think it's Yota who, and I just kind of clean away the edges with a tissue. But I think it was Yota style. I think I watched her Get Ready With Me with her, or she was talking about what she gets done, and she said you don't have to wear a lot of makeup if you take care of your skin. And that's something that I've definitely been spending a lot more time and money on, and not with treatments, just water and vitamin C and sunscreen, you know, water reminder, over the past couple of years especially. So as that just kind of settles in, you get an understanding of the kind of look that I'm left with. It looks like skin, and that's what I want it to look like. So to finish that, there's a couple of options that I have as well. The first one is to go and just pat it down with the Laura Mercier translucent powder. Yep, loose setting powder, and this big fluffy brush. The other option that I have is this Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Dim Light. And it is a finishing powder, and I never used to use that because I found I got like a bit of creasing around my eyes. And I got a great tip from my recent makeup lesson saying, if you've got the powders, use them and then finish with a hydrating spray. And she recommended the Tom Ford Hyaluronic Energizing Mist, which I loved, and it's a little bit bougie that it's Tom Ford. So I'm going to use that today because I've got a whole pan of this finishing powder that I didn't use for ages because I felt like it aged my face. So I just take that big fluffy brush, and again, I'm not an expert, but this is how I do it. I just dab it all over. Because I feel like all we're doing is trying to set any of that super shininess. We're just trying to make sure that that doesn't slide off your face and go anywhere. That's how I look at it anyway. So it does change the texture just a little bit, but I'm going to come back to that and, you know, give it a bit of a zhuzh later. Next, my everyday blush is the Luminous Flush Ambient Lightning Blush by Hourglass. Again, I'm a big fan of Hourglass. You can see I've hit pan there. I love it. So I have this old brush that I got on the cover of a magazine, and I just like it for blush. And I got told that you should put blush up. A lot of people use blush like on their cheeks, like in the cartoons, and it just pulls your face down. So I just kind of pull it up from my cheekbone, so I get that kind of flush look. And somewhere I learned to put a little dab on the end of your nose so that you look kind of flushed. The next piece that I have is, again, it's an old Chanel palette, and this is the Camellia de Chanel, and it's a highlighter. I've hit pan. I'm almost done on this. I'm just, you know, I've just got to find, I'll probably buy, to be honest, I'll probably buy the Hourglass lightning strobe powder that I get in my little palettes from them. And I just use this brush that I got for free from Mecca as a gift for my membership, and I just kind of pull that, you know, blend it in with the blush a little bit down the center of my nose, and I just do a little bit over the top of my brow there. Again, it's just little things I've picked up. I'm not an expert. I'll stop doing disclaimers now and just carry on. Alright, sometimes I use bronzer. Today I'll use it just to show you how I use it, and it is, again, the Hourglass Luminous Bronze Light. Love Hourglass, and that's what it looks like there. I've got a little brush in here somewhere. Where is it? Oh. Another one that was a cheek sculptor that came off a magazine. If it works, it works. Like, I have bought brush kits and I haven't rated them, even really good ones. So I just kind of tend to have a mix of brushes that work for me. And I just work it around my hairline. And you can kind of see that it kind of brings your face together. So you don't tend to be able to blend any of your foundation like right up to your hairline, and you probably wouldn't want to anyway, but the powder helps. And then I just do this face and I bring it down here, sometimes along the jawline, but mainly it's just to create some shadow here, because I will usually go through and wipe down my jawline again to make sure I don't get makeup on my clothes. Alright, so that's all the kind of facial powder bits and pieces that I'm going to do. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prep my eyelids for some shadow. Now, to do that, I'm coming back to this powder, and you can see I've got a little bit in the top there. I just grab a fluffy brush, pat some powder on, and then I just kind of press it over the top of my eyelids so that I've got a nice, dry, stable base for any powder to stick to, and it doesn't all kind of, you know, get those greasy lines in it from product melting with your eyeshadow, because that is not a great look. And you want your makeup to look fresh all day if you can. Alright, for brows, I've got a bunch of spoolies from Mecca, so I've got quite long and thick brows. I have not had my brows waxed, I've got to say, for over a year. I used to go and have them shaped and waxed, and for some reason I haven't had to. I just tidy up on the inside here, and sometimes I get a couple of like stray hairs through here which I'll tidy, but yeah, they've stayed. I'm pretty happy with them. Every now and then I give them a little trim, but I have been blessed, that's for sure. So with the brows, what I'm going to do is I just like to add a little bit of powder, and I've got this Kevin Aucoin, it's called the Precision Brow Pencil, and it's very fine. So that's all I've got left. If you can see the end of it there. There you go. On one end it's got the pencil that just turns, and on the other end it's got a spoolie. So again, another great one for travel. And I'm going to try and use the phone. I just try and run a line down my brow. I cannot do that. I'm going to end up with pencil all over my face. And I also do go from the top as well. And then I just literally throw little flicks up, because that's where I tend to get like little holes. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. Have I got any left in there? That's how quickly I go through these things. I've got another brow pencil, just a second. Haha. Here's one I prepared earlier. Alright, so here we go again. So first of all, I just run the colour through. You can just see it's just a slight line there. Like, I do not want my brows to look like they're painted on. And I don't really need to add a lot of shape to my brows. So what I tend to do is just fill in those bits. Then I'll grab the spoolie on that end and I'll just fluff that powder through. And I'm okay if my brows look a little bit wild, because you know me, I prefer the done but undone style. So I want them to look like they're my brows and not like they've been painted on and they're absolutely perfect. I'm just not a fan of that look. If you are, good for you. But for me, I'm not. How I do like to paint them on though is, again, another product I got in my Adore Beauty advent calendar, which I'm loving. This stuff sets like concrete. It's the Benefit 24-hour brow setter, and it's a clear pomade. It's got like a silicone wand which has got kind of longer bristles at one end and shorter bristles at the other, depending on your brows. And the trick is to get enough product but not too much, and then you just sweep it through your brows and your brows will not move. They do not move. It is crazy how good this stuff is. It's like having a little lamination, but just for the day. And when I wash my face after a day, I've got to be sure to like properly scrub in my brows so that they don't get all gluey. The only thing that is a problem with this is if you then want to run a spoolie through your brows later on through the day. I don't know why you would, because they don't move. It kind of peels, so you get like little flakes in your brows, which is not a good look. Okay, so we've got our base done. We've got our blush, highlighter. We've got our brows filled and pomaded. Now it's time for eyeshadow, which kind of pulls everything together. Today I am going to use my Naked3 palette by Urban Decay, which is more kind of rose and purpley kind of tones, so you can see across there. So I tend to use this as a base, this one on the crease, this one on the lid, and then I'll pick some shimmers to kind of highlight with. But my other go-to combination is the Too Faced Born This Way Naturally Nudes palette, and you can tell what I use there to do the same thing. So I'll use a really light base, then I'll use this for the crease, I'll use this for the lid, and then I kind of mix up what I want to do in terms of a bit of a shimmer, and sometimes I'll use this for the crease and this for the lid, and the same kind of thing with those rose gold shades. So I find that browns and purples, violets, lavenders I should say, work really well for my colouring, but your colouring might be totally different, so you do you. So back with that fluffy brush that we used to powder before, I'm going in with that first light colour, and I just want to cover the entire area just to make sure that we've got a nice dry foundation for the colour to go on, because at the end of the day we want all of that colour to stay right there. Alright, so here we go. You're going to have to excuse me. You're going to have to excuse me while I try and do this on the side. So the first thing I'm going to do is go in with my kind of medium transition colour, and I'm going to do in the crease here, and again I'm going to keep using this fluffy brush. In this palette the colour is called Limit, and I just kind of start from the inside and I work to the outside of the crease and up to the brow, I suppose. Like, I'm keeping it from the crease and up. And the thing with all these colours is they're quite buildable. I don't want it to look like I've done a lot. I just want to have a definition between my face and my eyes. So I'll do that on the other side too. So I've done both eyes. I'm not sure if you can see, but you should see just a subtle change in colour. Then I'm going to go to this kind of angled fluffy brush, and I'm going to add that darker colour to my lids, and on this palette it's called Nuna. And here I'm just dabbing the colour on rather than, you know, blending it to start with. But I find this angled fluffy brush is really good for kind of making the colours start to blend without me having to do an extra step of blending. If that makes any sense to you, hopefully it does. And then I just start to lift it up into that colour in the crease. Okay, so let's close my eyes and you can see the difference between this eye that's just got the crease and the lid colour, and this eye that's just got the lid colour. Let's go ahead and do the other one. Alright, so both eyes are done. Now, I feel like they're blended pretty well. I'm now going to take like a more compact eyeshadow brush, and I'm just going to go in with that darker colour, and I'm going to line under my eyelashes, my bottom lashes, to kind of bring that colour from the top down to the bottom. And I'm probably just going to go halfway with that. So you see that kind of adds a bit of a smoky edge, because then I just wipe my brush on a tissue that I have here. Then I want to go with a lighter colour in this section here. So I will grab the lighter colour from the palette that I used in the crease, and also just a teeny bit of shimmer, and I'll do from the inner eye to that line and just join them together. It's only a very subtle difference, but it's a difference and it's there for a reason. I'm going to continue to use this brush, and this is where I go in with the shimmer, and I just like to put shimmer on the middle part of the eye. So depends what mood I'm in, but usually I go for something kind of in between the two colors of the crease. So here I've got a couple of options. So I'll go with the more like rose gold color, and that one's called Buzz, and then I just pat it on. Just patting it on to the center of the lid, and you just kind of press around the eyeball as your guide. Just want to kind of create like an orb on your eyeball, using your eyeball as like the template. Does that make sense? You just press around the ball. And I think that's just a way to bring shimmer to your eyes without looking like you're going to a dance at Stanford or something like that. And then the final bit is, usually this is a lot faster because I'm not explaining every little element, is to grab the most brightest shimmer and just put a bit of that on there, and then I just kind of do a dab in the, what do you call that bit? The bit where you cry, the tear duct area. And it just brightens everything up. A couple more steps and then we'll be done. I discovered this product too at a makeup lesson, and it's the Too Faced Killer Liner. This one is in Killer Cashmere, and I love this to just line the bottom waterline. So let's see if I can do that without poking myself in the eye. It's just nice and bright, and because it's not white, it actually looks really fresh on your eye, and you know, you look so much brighter and your eyes look so much bigger. Final step, final step for eyes, and then the final step for the face. Eyelash curler. I've got really straight lashes. I've actually got a serum for my eyelashes. I used it previously, and I found I was growing hairs down here where the serum had kind of leached off of my lash line, and I had hair growth starting down here, and that was not a good look. So I got rid of that, and I've got a whole tube of the serum that I haven't started, and I feel like I could start again because my lashes got really long. But I'm just like, I could just curl them. This is again, Kevin Aucoin does the best eye products. This is the curling mascara, and I've talked about it a lot, and I've bought it a lot. Basically, it kind of forms a little shrink wrap over your lashes and curls them up. I'm going to need a mirror for this, Dale. Who are you kidding? And I just kind of pull the product through my eyelashes. Again, I don't like it to look like I'm wearing mascara. I don't like the look of really thick artificial lashes. I like fluffy, long if I can get them, but fluffy curled lashes is what I like on me, because again, it's that more natural. It's a more natural look, and usually I just do the top, but if I've had a bit of like fallout on my lashes on the bottom, I'll put some on the bottom too. So when you look at my eyes, you shouldn't be able to see like a really obvious mascara, kind of really thick, coagulated look. It should just look like my lashes, but a little bit more groomed. Final stages, I told you I'd come back. You can see I still do look a bit dewy, but I'm going to ensure myself with this Tom Ford spray. So this will be glamorous. Let's do my best Lydia Elise Millen. We'll just let that dry. I've brought out a NARS Rose Cliff Satin sample lipstick that I got in a, actually I think this one might have come from the Adore Beauty advent calendar as well, and just a nice neutral lip. Who would have thought me and neutrals, right? And that's my look. So I'll do my after photo. So I'm getting nice and close so that you can see the finished texture of my skin and my brows. You can see they're not painted on at all. My eyes and lips. So that's kind of just how I roll. Hopefully that's been helpful. Obviously the hair situation, I can take this off and I can go and do my hair, but thanks for getting ready with me. I hope that I've shared something or a little tip or trick that might have been useful to you. And if I have, great. If you've got some tips for me, equally great. Please like, subscribe and share in the comments below. Until next time, ciao.